Hi everyone, my name's Jenny and today I'm going to be showing you 3 easy special effects that you can do from the comfort of your home using anything that you have at home or using the products that I use today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first technique that we're going to work on is a bruise. So bruises can come in any shape and size, different colors even. So it's really up to you and the kind of look that you want to go for. So the one thing to keep in mind is the color tones that you're going to be working with. So reds, purples, sometimes a little bit of yellows, and of course your natural skin tone. So we're going to go ahead and get started with a simple bruise on the face, and we're going to be working on the side of our face closest to our eye. So the first thing that I have here is a couple of colors. So I have a red, a purple, a yellow, and a skin tone color. And the first thing I'm going to dig into is actually the almost purple red color. So using a small brush, we're gonna go ahead and dip into that and just start working around the area that you want the bruise to be located. Don't be afraid to use your fingers to really warm up the color and spread it out and really drag it out so it looks like it's part of your skin. Keeping in mind that with bruises, they usually start off light in the center and they start to darken out in the outer edges of the bruise. So you want to build your color so that the outer edge is darker and the center goes a little bit lighter. So keep spreading that out with your hand. You can also use a cosmetic sponge to soften the edges. Once you're done with that purple color, you can move into something a little bit brighter, so a red. Again, you can continue to use the same sponge or brush. And now you're adding it closer to the center of this bruise and stipple it randomly. The nice thing about special effects is you don't have to be super precise and neat. Actually, the messier you are, the better. So feel free to get right in there with your fingers to make it look like part of your skin. Okay, once you're done with that, the last color I'm gonna go into before I start to brighten it up is more of a purpley blue color, just to show that aged darkness to it, and only where you want it to be the darkest. Once you're done with the darker colors, you now want to go into the color closest to your skin tone and apply this with the sponge around the outer furthest edge so that it blends seamlessly with the rest of your skin. You don't want any hard edges. A bruise is usually pretty blended out. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna add a touch of yellow just to give that infection style look. And I'm actually using the end of my brush just to give it a smaller working area. And then again, using your finger to really blend that out. And that's simply a bruise. Now you can do these all over wherever you'd like to see a bruise. So in this look, I'm just gonna be doing it on the side of my face, but feel free to use these on your hands, on your arms, wherever you're looking for that bruised effect. Okay, so the next special effects that I'm going to be showing you is simply a punctured wound. So we're going to be working around the lip area. Everything that we have here is safe to be around your mouth, but let's be safe and not put it in our mouth, just simply around the outside. So we're gonna be creating a smaller wound. So simply still using the bruising technique, because with a wound, it still causes bruising. So you wanna, again, start with the darker color, but this time you're being a little bit more precise because a punctured wound wouldn't necessarily spread as far as a bruise would. So it would stay more contained in the same area. So you're gonna map out using your purpley red color, and then we'll layer again with all the other colors. So once you have your lip wound mapped out, now you're going to add some dimension by working with the rest of the colors that I mentioned earlier for the bruise. So we're going to take again the reds. Feel free to switch between tools as well. So if you prefer the sponge, use the sponge. The brush, use the brush. Even the tip of the brush is really good for smaller details. So that's what I'm going to use. And then again, your finger, in my opinion, is the best tool. Okay, and then using the color that best matches your skin tone, you're going to clean up around the edges. Okay, and for now we can leave it as is. At the end, we will add one last ingredient to all these special effects to make them pop a little bit more. But for now, let's move on to the final special effects, which is the runny nose. So we're going to be adding, again, same colors. Like I said, let's keep these around the nose, not necessarily in the nose. And you're going to pick which side you want to work on. And again, same technique. Start with the darker colors and have them spread out. With the nose, you want to bring the color up a little bit to the tip of the nose as well, because in order to make it look a little bit more realistic, you want it to not just be right on the nostril, also spread out a little bit. Of course, the bruising would spread as well. Always remember to blend the edges. And lastly, again, with your skin tone color, here it is. I'm going to add that about around the furthest edge closest to your skin. And then, like I said, that yellow color just to give it a little bit of brightness. And then using a clean sponge just to stipple around the whole thing so that it blends very nicely. Lastly, we're going to be adding my favorite piece of all special effects, which is the blood. Feel free to use whatever you have at home. It could be ketchup, it could be chocolate syrup, or it could be the store-bought blood. Again, remembering to not put this in your nose, in your eyes, or in your mouth, simply around all of the areas in which you'd like to see a little bit of gore. So I'm gonna dig into my blood here. And using the end of my brush, because it's a little bit smaller, I'm simply just gonna dip it into the blood. Add it right to the edge of the lip. And you really want that dripping effect. So what I like to do is grab a bit of a heavier scoop of it so that it naturally drips on its own. Clean up any areas you didn't want the blood to go to in case you're a little heavy-handed like I was. And then using one of these sponges, it's a stippling sponge. If you don't have one of these, what I recommend is taking one of the cosmetic sponges and simply tearing away some pieces from the edge of it. This adds a little bit of texture to it and acts as a stippling sponge. I'm going to be using the stippling sponge, so I'm going to take the blood and just turn it over so that I can get a little bit on the sponge, and then you can add these to areas that you just want to do a little bit of, you know, texture. And there you have it. Easy, 3 different ways to do a special effects, and you can do these techniques in any part of your body in order to achieve the costume that you're looking for. So how about we turn this into a costume ourselves? And there you have it, an easy boxer. Simply braid your hair in some messy braids, put on an old robe and any of your athletic equipment, and you're good to go.